Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box with special guest.
Hey.
That's Kelsey Shannon over there behind the comic book. Pay no attention to the man behind the comic book.
Pay no attention to the man behind the beard.
That's both of us. Then nobody's going to pay attention to us. So thanks a lot. I've been jokingly calling this two beards, one comic, and I got to say this is exactly what I was hoping to do when I started this channel: talk comic books with another comic book geek. And guys, you can't get better than Jim Starlin's Warlock. Let me just turn my lights to get rid of these glares.
Well, and one of the things that spawned this, in case anybody's watching for the first time, is that I had never read Warlock. And John was telling me that this is a must-read, and it has an absolutely fantastic ending, one of the best in comics. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. In fact, that this was filled with so many ideas. Maybe we should do like a little recap of what we've gone through so far.
Okay, go ahead.
So we get an introduction to his history, which is he's appeared in several other comics before he's kind of started at his own thing. So we get a little bit of a origin story and a recap of some of the other adventures he was on. Then we pick up with a young woman, a space girl who's running away from these baddies, and he steps in to help her, but he fails. She she gets killed, and to figure out why she was killed and what was going on, he uses the Soul Stone to get information from her soul before it departs the body completely, and he learns about the Magus, or the Magus, however you want to say it, this deity that's being worshipped on this planet. And there's a church, which I can't remember the church. Do you know the church?
Universal Church of Truth.
Yeah. Okay, so the Universal Church of Truth is this organization bent on propagating their message and killing everyone that doesn't agree. And he eventually comes face to face with the Magus and finds out that he, Warlock, and the Magus are one and the same, and that is a future version of him who has turned evil, and now he must basically fight himself, the darker parts of himself. And then in the adventure to find out about this world and ultimately defeat Magus, we run into Darkseid. Right? Or no, Thanos. The other dark side. Yes. Thanos and of course what's her name? Gamora. Yeah, which is
the troll. That's our casting character. Now, what happens is if you can see here on this cover, Adam's got this little. It looks like a pimple on his forehead, but that's the Soul Gem. That's the first of the Infinity Stones that we see in comics, and it was the Soul Stone. And I believe that Jim Starlin didn't make up all 6 Infinity Stones. He started with the Soul Stone, and that evolved over time. But the Soul Stone is constantly corrupting Jim Starlin. The Soul Stone
Jim Warlock.
Jim Starlin also. A lot of people don't realize that, but he's totally evil right now. Warlock, and over 5,000 years, he turns into the Magus or Magus, however I say Magus, but
either way, apples and oranges.
And you can tell he's evil because he gets Art Garfunkel's haircut, and we all know that Art Garfunkel is the evil one from Simon. And then here is the wild card: Magus doesn't recall Thanos, so it's Thanos has somehow like inserted himself into this Mobius strip of time, and he's the wild card. So thus therein lies the conundrum. And let's address the chat. Senor Arante just finished this one. Great read, isn't it? Isn't this so good? This is so good. And of course I have to say this: at 9 o'clock I will be live on Michael Bancroft's channel. We're going to launch my comic, Heroic Tales. Kelsey graciously said, let's do this to keep me from pulling my beard hair out. I'm getting a little nervous. My wife just bought me some food, and I took one bite, and I'm like, I can't eat. I'm trying to be cool, but It's not working. This is all a facade. I'm a nervous wreck. Darkness was our adventures. Thank you for coming. You know, I just got to say thank you for the support. What's up, Dan Wardy? How are you? And from the chat, it's pronounced Magus. There
you go.
That solves it. and Soleil, thank you. How you doing? And so somewhere around like 10 to 9, whatever we're up to, we'll be stopping. So this will probably be the second of 3, right?
Yeah, because this book is so dense, and there's so much. This ain't like your modern comics where you have to read 10 comics and you still don't know. There's still nothing happens. No, this is yeah. I mean, whole lifetimes worth go on in every issue. You got to pay attention.
You just reread these. You just read them for the first time. How long did it take you to read each issue?
Well, I started reading it, back when we thought of this idea, when you were like, you got to read these. And I read through the first couple of issues, maybe the first 2. And I was kind of struggling because it was a little different. There was so much information, and I had a lot of work to do. So I kind of put it down, but then you reminded me, and the show was getting close and I wanted it to be fresh. So I read it again, all the day of, the show that we did, so that I would be.
I threatened you. I said I was going to spoil it. So.
Yeah. I didn't want that. So just in case, it was really good. So I'm glad you didn't. But yeah, it's you can read it all in one go. It was exhausting, because it's so much happens that it's when you read it all in one go, it's a roller coaster ride.
And I forget who told me, but they put it in the chat for our last video that the names of the clowns.
Yeah.
Is that an anagram? What is it when you mix up the letters? An anagram?
Yeah, I think so.
It's anagram for Roy Thomas and Stan Lee.
Is it really?
Yeah, I had to go back and look. I'm like, yep. Yeah.
Where is their names? The land of the way it is. Oh, the name's Lintine. Is that it? Head clown around here. Oh,
anagram. Anagram. Bananagram.
Yeah, that was fun because, when I first got to that issue, I was like, clowns. Oh, man.
Stan Lee and John Romita. Okay.
Already I'm having to deal with afros and,
new name.
Trolls.
How you doing, Hidden Hand Media?
Hey,
Thank you for showing up. So here we have, I love this. It's just Art Garfunkel hair over here with the Soul Gem, and then Thanos over here. And just these are just poor aliens just stuck in the middle, like if they're not being used by Thanos, they're being used by the Magus, and it's just problems.
So this is where this is really funny. When I got to this place, I saw I looked at this cover and it said number 10, and then How Strange My Destiny, Part 1, Chapter 1. And I was like, I've just been through a ton, but no. This is where truly the Thanos arc really gets moved.
Right.
He was introduced in the issue before, but this is where the story really picks up steam, and it's a freight train, a runaway freight train until the very end at this point. Well, there is a couple stops. There's a couple stops along the way.
Yeah. Is it the next issue?
Yeah, there's 2 issues that are kind of side stories. And they're really interesting. They're almost like those X-Files episodes or those Star Trek episodes that are just like little one-offs that are they introduce really great concepts, or they're just fun. Like one of them is about the troll and kind of his little he goes on a little adventure of his own. And then I'm curious, with your knowledge, I want to ask you some things about that episode to see if they pick up any of the threads that he didn't tie up in that issue. Did they ever pick any of that up with some of these characters? So we'll see if we get to that point.
Just say hello to Pops. How you doing, Pops? Thanks for showing up. So first thing you'll notice is just look at all the, a lot of dialogue in every page. So the Universal Church of Truth is a sham religion made up by the Magus, and the Magus, he doesn't believe it. It's just a way to control the population of the galaxy, and he put the matriarch in charge. And who is the matriarch? just a prostitute that he found on the streets who was charismatic. And
but she's also pretty dang smart.
Yeah, she's smart, and she also knows that it's a sham religion, and she's going to use the religion to overthrow the mages to take, and so they got rid of her last issue. Everybody's a player. Everybody's got their own schemes and scams.
Yeah, and there's no, you get the feeling like there's no one's precious in this.
Right.
It's realistic that anybody could die at any time. Also, like it's real. You're left like kind of on edge, where the danger is real.
and Adam Warlock swore never to use the soul gem, and then promptly used it 2 more times because it's like the One Ring. It's tearing away his humanity, and
little by little it starts to get easier to use, right?
Yes.
Like
just one more hit just to take the edge off.
Yeah.
And here each little paragraph box sets up the stage, and I love it. It's very theatrical. Occupying center stage, the victims to the right, Gamora, Thanos' beautiful but deadly assistant. Notice that they don't call her his daughter. Because at this point, she's not Thanos' daughter. They go over her origin in this as well, and it's a bit different than people may have seen in the movie. It's definitely different than I saw. And then says Adam Warlock, our hero, and a man pitted against his own inner self and the people who worship that self as a deity. And I love the wording there. Like they don't worship Adam Warlock; they worship Adam Warlock's self. It's just a very particular choice of words. And then the Dark Titan, who has come to Warlock's aid for his own sinister purposes. So again, everybody's easy alliances or fragile alliances. Pip, a generally useless troll.
I'm going to disagree with that because he definitely picks up my spirits.
Yeah, he's comic relief.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, this is December 1975. I always like to point out the dates so people get old.
This is not to make you feel old here, John, but this is literally a month or 2 before I was born.
Wow.
Yeah, I was born in November of 1975. So.
This was I was born in 68. So what am I, 8 years old? And I started.
Wow.
I've always had comics in my life, but I always say that 74, 75. I can't exactly remember what year was when I started collecting comics.
Mm-hmm.
This is when I was using, like, my mom would give me $1 every day for lunch, and comics were 25 cents. Yeah. So I'd buy 1 or 2 comics and still have 50 cents for lunch. And back then, 50 cents bought you 2. I remember distinctly 2 pizza bagels and a chocolate milk. That's what made this. I almost cursed this fat F what he is today. What would you eat? Well, I'm pizza bagels and chocolate milk and comic books.
It cost me $1.75 by the time I was buying them myself, and I could buy a couple comics. I'd get like $5 or $10, buy a couple comics, and then I could buy some chips and a soda at the vending machine at school.
Let me ask you this. Every Wednesday, I would, when I was like 17 to like 20, I would go to the comic book store, drive to the comic book store, get my comics, and then drive to like White Castle, Burger King, McDonald's, and just sit in the parking lot with cheeseburgers, eating comics.
Eating comics. We definitely consumed comics, that's for sure.
Yes. So here we have, Thanos and Warlock, uneasy alliance over here, just fighting.
Yeah, because this weren't they? Yeah, okay. So this is the beat where they just sent 25,000 of soldiers, Black Knights, which are like what's his name from the beginning? The captain, Autoclus. Yeah, the captain who was a good soldier. He was honorable man. And he fought well, but he died. He got his soul sucked out. But he was a tough fight. So now we have 25,000 of those guys.
It was such a tough fight that Adam Warlock had to resort to the Soul Stone, which he swore he wasn't going to use.
Yep.
And then we have Thanos just using eye blasts, just dispatching them.
Yeah, he's like it's like he's the a gun turret in the middle, just blasting, and they're running interference all around him.
And I love this. He says, I cannot do this alone. I need your help. A lot different than the Thanos, that we see in the 90s and the 20s, like, he's like, you get your act together there, and then he's like, you mean like this? And he starts fighting exactly. And now he's like, Gamora, come on, all three of us. We got to now. I don't believe this is Thanos like fake bolstering. I think this is Thanos like early Thanos, just like, guys, we got to get our shit together. We got 25,000 of these, just to kill 25,000 armed Black Knights just to kill 4 unarmed intruders. The Magus must be cracking up.
Yeah, he's like a real character. Like he's not so stoic, but you do get the idea. I mean, almost from the get-go that he's got alternative things. Right. So yeah, he wants him to do this so they can get out of here, but there's always something else. He's real cunning, this guy.
And also this is Thanos before he sees the personification of death. So I can't help but think in role-playing terms, this is like low-level Thanos, and then he levels up and gets all his schemes and scams.
Well, he's not possession of any kind of rings at this point, right?
Right. He doesn't have the concept of the Infinity Gauntlet yet. This is just Thanos, the ugly. Here's another funny thing: is this I think is only his third appearance. He showed up in Iron Man 55, and he wasn't a Titan yet. He wasn't an Eternal yet. He was a Titan from the planet Titan, whose father was Mentor and his brother was Eros, but they weren't associated with the Eternals yet. So this mythology is still forming. You know what I mean? Like that's like comic books. You got a Lego, and then you snap another Lego on top, and you snap a third Lego. Yeah. I just don't like when you take off the Legos and insert a different Lego. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, right. That's what they started doing later, so that they're building on.
But it's fun because you could see it all there. Like you could see it forming, and into the great myth, that these characters become. You can see, it permeating already.
Yeah. It's like lava bubbling up,
Yeah.
So keep in mind that even though Thanos is an Eternal, and I don't want to say retconned because it evolved. Retcon is when they change, but he evolved into an Eternal. But the Eternals weren't created yet. Jack Kirby didn't make the Eternals for another 2 years.
In the movie, wasn't he also? Didn't they mention that he was also from Titan? Not that he is a Titan.
Not the Moon Titan of Saturn, like he is in the comic books. So just the planet Titan,
Yeah.
So they still call him the Mad Titan, but he's not associated with the Eternals, which makes no sense because they have the Eternals movie. They could tie it all together.
I heard they didn't do that well. I need to see that one. After we're done with this, I'm going to watch those Thanos movies again just to see how much was changed and how much they kind of nailed.
They made him stupid. They made
really?
Thanos has a weak, dumb, limiting motivation in the movies. They tried to make the character's name is Thanos, which is a shortened, abbreviated version of the Greek god of death, Thanatos.
Oh.
So Thanos is named from the Greek god Thanatos, death.
Yeah.
Thanos in mythology's little brother is Hypnos, which is sleep. So this is a guy who's named after death. His name literally means death. And in the movies, the guy named after death wants to save the universe and make people have more research. They fundamentally misgot.
Yeah, because he's in the movie. I think he only wants to eliminate half of everyone in the universe.
But he wants to do it not to appease, like he wants to do it to save because he feels there's not enough resources in the universe. So he thinks he's a good guy. In the comics, he's a serial killer. He's in love with death. He wants to kill because he's in love with death, and death keeps spurting, give him the cold shoulder. Yeah. Well, if I kill half the universe, will that get death to notice me? He's Van Gogh cutting off his ear. He's that incel that's just trying to get that hot girl's attention. A
glitch brings up this great onomatopoeia here, Katoom.
And
that's funny because that's they're like, we got to get underground, we got to get away from here, and so they all make it underground just as like this explosion happens, and Thanos is left up there on his own.
Yeah. That yeah. What geeks do? He's saying he ordered your comic today. Good job, guys.
Nice.
Mike Barron and Kelsey Shannon. How can you not order that? That to me is, you like comics, you're ordering that.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, what's funny is like going through this, you see, not that Mike Barron was inspired by this kind of thing. And he must have read this stuff, but it has a lot of, he's definitely a sci-fi fan, and you could tell that he and Jim Starlin are kind of cut from the same cloth in that their imagination has no limits on it. And
I asked Mike Barron that directly, and he said, yeah, he read it, and I even said I could imagine Nexus hanging out with Warlock.
Yeah. There could be a team up.
And I got a rare smile for Mike Barron, so that was that's like getting an Oscar nomination. By the great soul, the master is trapped down there. So again, she doesn't say father. At this point, this is like the first Star Wars movie. There's no way in hell Luke was Darth Vader's son, and there's no way in hell Leia was Luke's sister. That was just like, what are we gonna do next? How about their sisters? Good idea.
I love that we're made to feel kind of sorry for Thanos at this point. There's nothing we could do for him, Gamora.
Yeah,
right
he
now,
came and saved us.
You're leaving this room. Yeah.
I think Thanos was trying too hard for death. She won't respect that. I think they toned Thanos down, because I honestly think it would have been too scary for the average kid who goes to see movies. This purple alien who just wants to kill because he's in love with death. Like if they say, why are you doing this? And he was just like, I'm Thanos.
Well,
and like
also,
that would be terrifying.
Also, in a lot of stories with the hero's journey, or I don't know if that's included, but I've heard it said that a really good villain is the hero of their own story.
Right.
And they could have still done that with the death thing, but I know that they were giving him, at least in the movie, motivation that made his own actions justifiable, at least to him. When it's just all complete death, it's kind of hard to justify that, and he's just straight up a bad guy.
Yeah, he should have. Yeah, when you're named after the god of death, you should just be a bad guy. The chat even says this: the human population went from 3 billion to 7 billion in half a century. Movie Thanos went through all that trouble to set everything back 50 years. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had infinity in his hand. Why didn't he just double the resources?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
What I mean? It just showed you how, or make it so that all living beings only breed once in their lifetime to keep the population. He could have done anything, and he chose the stupidest thing to do. It just makes Thanos a bad villain in my opinion.
It would have been really good writing if they'd have convinced us that he was justified in killing everyone. That would have been a real trick of writing, to make him want to kill every living creature in known existence, and still make us kind of like, well, maybe he's got a point. They
never explained why Thanos was so powerful in the movies either. He just appeared. Yeah, they never really gave him an origin.
Well, they were kind of sort of building him up over the other movies, but no. I mean, I love the directness of this. They even in this story, at least, they introduce him through Gamora, so it's a bit of a surprise because Gamora shows up. She's talking about her master. We don't know who it is, and then this guy shows up, and of course, you said he shows up in Iron Man or whatever, so he's still relatively new.
Right. I think this is only his third or fourth appearance,
so we don't know his motivation at this point. We just know that he seems to be definitely have his own plans, but he's willing to kind of work with Warlock to get things done. So it's
we don't know why he's working with Warlock.
Yeah.
And over here we have the beginning of flashback. The story's so dense they got to remind everybody. So Pip and Gamora goes like, what exactly is going on? And he's like, well, here I got this soul gem, and I was convinced I could control it, but now I'm learning that the soul gem will corrupt me over 5,000 years, and blah 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 blah. This is the story of Articlus, the matriarch. I'm going insane. This was the clowns and everything. Then the in-betweener, and now I'm going to evolve for 5,000 years. And
this art, I want a poster of this. It almost reminds me of like some George Perez kind of stuff from
Yeah, you know what? I was funny that you
Titans
said that because I couldn't decide if it was John Byrne, Neil Adams, or George Perez. And
a
I
little
think
bit of all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the answer is yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
He
really
was
great.
ultimately not interested in saving the universe. He just wanted to prove his method would have worked for his planet. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Zarkan. Real Thanoism has never been tried. Good point. Good point.
Thanoism, yeah.
The right-hand page looks like a real book. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it does. Hey, we got Matt Barr. Hey, you doing? Matt
What's
Barr.
happening? Yeah, and that's what I like about this is that it's literary.
Yes, yes. I said this as a kid, and I'm saying it as a 56-year-old man. This is Shakespeare to me. And wait till you see the ending. The ending, oh my God, chef's kiss. I just happened to found out Matt Barr sent me some he's doing a page in my comic. Oh my God, it's so good. It's better than I expected. You guys are gonna love my comic. You guys are gonna love I got such great people
Matt's
working
great.
on it. Matt.
So you got Renzo, you got Matt, you got who else? You got who's
Ron
the colorist?
He's doing a backup. I got Oscar Carrera doing coloring. I got Daniel De La Silva Rodriguez doing coloring.
Nice.
I got Fabrizio Aiello doing a page who does Horace H. Hoover, and I got Brian Bow who does Wolf and Batsy doing a page.
Right on. Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
And I got Nick Axe who's doing the art for Crom the Destroyer. He's doing like all my graphic design, and depending upon stretch goals, he might be doing other stuff. The comic is already stupid expensive, and I'm only charging $10 for it. I'm about to pull all my hair out.
Well, your dreams don't come cheap, my friend.
Right. Well, my wife's packing her bag over there. Look at this page. Oh my God. So then down
note of the color too. It's really, really great.
And I must point that out. Jim Starlin did everything on this. And I think the only thing he didn't do, I don't think he did the inks.
Really? Let me see, because it has this crazy name. It says
Starlin, Lilioli. Yeah. Okay,
Leah Lowe inked it. But yeah, he must have colored it because there's no other colorist on here. Or Zachowski's the letterer.
Right. And he says Wolfman. So Marv Wolfman must be helping him with the dialogue, I bet.
Is he the editor too? No. Who's the editor?
The editor. That's right, because it was
yeah.
So we got a new editor. That's right. So Marv Wolfman's probably the editor. Neat lineup. Yes. I don't know if you're talking about my comic or this comic, but I'll say
both.
Yeah. Wasn't Marcus Kellegrew working on a project for you? Yeah. I tried out a bunch of people for the backup, and Ron just blew it out of the water. So Marcus, I still would like to work with. I paid Marcus for the tryout. No harm, no foul. He So
okay. This is important. This scene is when we're catching up back with the matriarch who fell down that hole. The Magus just sort of like began.
Right. She got thrown down a hole like garbage. He dismissed her. They jumped down the hole because they can't deal with these Black Knights. Thanos is up there saving the day. They're running away. And here they find her like a broken spider. I love this. I got to show this picture.
Well, it looks like she fell down who knows how far and just landed on rock,
Right.
So
and you can see this blood dripping on the rocks, there's blood dripping out of her face. And she's just saying, and I love this, like Marlena Dietrich. Is that the actress that she's like?
Yeah, definitely.
She goes, I'm so glad I didn't want to die alone. Like now,
that face shot, that panel with him and Shadow behind her is so great. It's so haunting, this moment. And she's kind of smiling because she's not, even in death, she's not weak at all.
Right.
She's still
manipulating him.
Yeah.
She's still, and look at Gamora over here. Is like, can you believe this shit? This Gamora.
I guess we're both destined to be losers, Adam. For we set impossible goals for ourselves.
And look at Pip over here. Pip is like, he's falling for this shit.
He's like, what do you? No, he looks like he's like, what do you mean? I can do whatever. What do you mean? We're not losers.
He's got a Jimmy Cagney voice, right? Look at like it's like sensual over here. He's like laying her down.
Yeah, this is really wild. And this shot of the skull,
Death
showing
comes.
death is coming for her. Yeah.
and he comforts her as he dies. And then look at this, the way the light is over here. He's like,
Yeah.
he's like all resolved. He's like, damn it, this Magus is just bad news.
And then the reverse shot of that last little closer shot where it's, it's just dramatic,
Right. You could
the
definitely
only thing I do understand is
you can hear a John Williams score, Why?
I don't understand. Yeah. Why?
And then
why must life be so cruel?
Why must there be so much mystery, so much pain? Because that is the way of life. Thanos, yes, for every action there must be a reaction. With every give a take must occur. For every pleasure a pain must be paid. You, unlike myself, have chosen the path of the living. So he's already declared that he's taken the path of the dead. You must learn to be one with the other, with this life, or it will destroy you. The only way is to pay the price. The price is pain. I don't know, man. This is William Shakespeare to me, guys.
We were looking at on the creative block. We were looking at Alan Davis's run on not clandestine. What's the first book he did with? I think Claremont was on it. It had Polaris and Captain Britain and Excalibur. Yeah, so Captain Britain is just a mess. He is just whining and just and it seems real weak. It seems like, man, this guy is he's just not being very manly, and then you see Warlock doing it, but they set up his character so well, and you see all the things that he struggles with, and it's earned.
Yes.
His kind of goofy line of why must life be so cruel is actually earned because it's been very cruel up to this point.
And also keep in mind, like in comic book time, Warlock has probably only been around for like a year or two. He was created by a cabal of scientists to be the supreme being. He was created to be an artificial deity for scientists to worship. And of course,
so in essence, he's like a child. He's learning all about death and life and all these things kind of, through action, through having to live it.
And now that he has the soul gem, every time he uses the soul gem energy, he gets their life experiences. So he knows every detail of Autoclus and all of his suffering. Yeah. So he's getting like wisdom and, everything from everybody. I call it, he gets their experience points like a D&D wraith or something like that.
Yeah.
And then look at this. We got Captain
This
Marvel.
Is wild. Yeah, the little Who is Thanos with who is this guy again?
This is Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel did it. Starlin did a whole graphic novel about the death of Captain Marvel.
Yeah, you see, Captain Marvel was about to be canceled. They kept it in print just to keep the trademark name because they didn't want DC to steal it back. So even though it was terrible, if you read the first 25 issues of Captain Marvel, it was like a chore, rotating artists, rotating writers. And then they gave it to Jim Starlin, and he reinvented it and made it a classic.
And then killed him.
Yeah. Well, when Jim Starlin left, nobody else could do it. So they're like, it became Jim Starlin's character. He became he was just run of the mill superhero guy, and then he became the cosmic defender.
Well, why is Captain Marvel doing this recap here?
Because Thanos has already Captain Marvel went to Titan and explored Titan and knew Eros and Mentor and Thanos.
Okay.
Mentor is the father. Thanos and Eros, life and death of the brothers. Eros is beautiful and charming and the perfect kid. Thanos was a mutant. He's again, at this point they're not Eternals. They're just Titans. These beings that live on Titan that they didn't really, as far as I know, explain their origins. But he was a mutant. Even they didn't call him a mutant, but he was the first ugly being born on the world, and his own mother rejected him. And that she named him. Supposedly, she gave him a name, and he whispered in his ear, "My name is Thanos," as a baby. You know what I mean? So he was just born heart. So Captain Marvel's because Captain Marvel went to this planet, and Captain Marvel married Elysium, another woman from this world. I think was related to men. So Captain Marvel like married into royalty of these Eternals. Matt Bauer says he's a deviant. I guess my memory. I remember he's a because
Who? Captain Marvel.
He says Thanos is a deviant.
Oh, Thanos. Okay.
I'm not. As far as my recollection goes, Mentor is the brother of Zuros, and they had a philosophical disagreement in prehistory, and Mentor took his people and landed there, and then Mentor had a wife whose name I can't recall and had the 2 kids. And I don't recall if he was a deviant, unless they retconned it that there was like a deviant wife, and then he wouldn't be twins. But whatever.
Well, he represents
the Greek gods.
I mean, he represents 2 sides of a coin. You know,
right.
You got your heads and your tails, and he's the tails. You know, he's the dark side.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. At this point, I think they were related to the Greek gods, and then the Eternals was like a real difficult thing to shoehorn into Marvel universe. Why would you have Zuros when you actually do have Zeus? And remember that Jack Kirby didn't want the Eternals to be in Marvel. The Eternals was supposed to be its own self-contained thing. That's why in issue 2 or 3 they had the cosmic powered Hulk robot, because they wanted a Marvel character to interact with the Eternals to drive up sales. But they didn't. Why would they make a cosmic powered Hulk robot? Why not just have the Hulk? Because the Hulk didn't exist. It was, And then when it got canceled at issue 19, the story was never completed. Roy Thomas continued the story in Thor, and that brought the Eternal proper. Jim Starlin at his best. I cannot disagree with that. I cannot. And Captain Bibto is gonna get me lynched by saying I could see that all women are deviants.
Thank God.
Thank God. At least the ones I went to college were with. So he's explaining a Thanos and the Cosmic Cube. Oh,
the Cosmic Cube. Huh?
I stand corrected. Here's Death already manifesting with.
Oh yeah. So you can see it.
I stand corrected.
To gain his sinister goals, but most importantly, he located the legendary, all-powerful Cosmic Cube. Now, I've heard of this before. Where have I heard that before?
The Cosmic Cube is this.
Well, no, I keep thinking about DC.
The Tesseract in the Marvel movies, but it's basically the MacGuffin device. It's this device that does whatever the holder wants. It's a wish machine.
Oh, okay.
And you could do anything with it. And then that leads to you said the next time we do this 2 Beards 1 comic, we'll do Marvel Secret Wars. And they later revealed somewhere down the line that the Beyonder is a sentient cosmic cube. It's
okay.
So, cosmic cubes contain, Beyonders, but without agency, and who knows if that's even changed. Yeah, the Red Skull had the cosmic cube first. So
right, I remember they did that in the movie also. The Tesseract in the Captain America: The First Avenger.
Yeah, I thought that I the Marvel movies were like they could do no wrong up until Endgame.
Well, I never see. There's so much of this that I haven't read, and I didn't know if I cared about it. And then when I saw the movies, some of them were so good. I was like, okay, I can see why people like this, and that kind of made me want to read, like where all that stuff comes from, and because when you read in like a novel. After you see a movie, there's just so much more detail, so much more world building and stuff. So
did the Cosmic Cube in the movies have an Infinity Stone? Yes, they had to get the Infinity Stones into the movie somehow.
Yeah,
so, they did. But in the comics, the Cosmic Cube was just some cosmic breakthrough of wish fulfillment.
So one thing I wanted to know about in this page is that Captain Marvel, when he's destroying the Cosmic Cube, looks like he's an old bald guy. Is he just getting like wrecked by the power of the cube there?
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was I hadn't realized that the still derived this. Okay, so now he's Thanos the Mad God. He's the Power Cube, and I just we'll show this and then I'll address this because look, we got Vision. Oh, here I'll pick this up.
Yeah.
Vision, This is Mantis from the comics. And
Oh,
an interesting thing about Mantis is Steve Englehart. That was his character, and everybody hated Mantis so much that he's one of the only people to actually write her. And when Steve Englehart went to DC, he created a character called Willow. She was the Celestial Madonna. Her prophecy was she was going to give birth to the true supreme being of the universe. So that's why everybody was after her. She was a Vietnamese prostitute. A lot of prostitutes in the 70s. She was a Vietnamese prostitute, half French, half.
Well, Jim Starlin heard once, "Write what you know," and
right, what you know. And Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin and all these guys, they're prostitutes, and she's like his supreme, like she's fit enough to give birth to the new god, and that attracted aliens and blah 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 blah. But nobody else liked her. So when he went to DC, he created a character called Willow, who became the Celestial Madonna. And she's, if you look up in the Marvel Universe, Mantis, her aliases are Willow. And then he went to, I forget what other comic it was, like First or Eclipse, and made up another character and called her the Celestial. So he continued her story in 3 different comic book companies. And here's Captain America. This is Drax the Destroyer.
Oh, okay, I was wondering
what Drax looks like in the comics.
Crazy.
And Drax the Destroyer is Arthur Douglas, a human who the Kree caused his car to crash. So they rescued him. His wife was killed outright, so they couldn't save her. Arthur Douglas, they rebuilt him into Drax, and the daughter was fine. And they took it was Titans from a Titan. So they brought them to Titan, fixed up Arthur Douglas. Heather Douglas became Moondragon. So that's
when did they change Drax to like what he is now, or
around 2012. I forget who it was, but they did a mini series with Drax, and they changed him into
Brightweiser. Mitch drew that, didn't he?
Oh, did he? I don't know.
Well, he did one of them. I don't know if that's the one.
I gotta look it up then. I don't know. And then
who is this guy? Pendragon or something? Who's the guy?
Moondragon. She's a bald like monk, and she develops. She's not in this panel, but I was just saying.
Well, no, the guy with the sword. See,
that's the swordsman.
Oh, okay.
He gets possessed by a vegetable space alien to become the father of the ultimate being, and mates with Mantis. And we pretty much never see any of them again until recent times, until they brought them all back for the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
But over here, so he smashes the cosmic cube. I hadn't realized that it still derived his strength from the cosmic cube, so I shattered the cube. So Thanos was tapping into the power of the cosmic cube, and he was ultimate power. And when he shattered it, like he was using the power to make Captain Marvel, like they were all aging, all the Avengers were dying. He shatters the cube, that restores them back to normal, and the feedback beats Thanos.
Yeah, he doesn't die though. He just gets banished into deep space.
Right, and he just floats around in deep space into some like cosmic hibernation. You know, he gets his powers back, and then Captain Marvel goes, "Meanwhile, let's get back to our story." So he was explaining everything. The redemption of a prince. I love this page. Look at this.
Yeah, man. What's her name? Looks great.
Gamora. Yeah.
She looks like a Ralph Bakshi cartoon character almost.
Yes, she does, doesn't she? Yeah. Yes. The guy with the sword's called the Swordsman. Makes sense. Yeah.
Go figure.
Called Cape Man, and damn, you all had good shit back in the day. Yes. And I'm thinking Jim Starlin was smoking the good shit when he wrote this.
Yeah.
They ruined the Swordman and the Black Knight story arcs.
I love the way he's drawn the eyes in here. You can't really see it on mine very well, but yeah, Starlin.
Warlock.
I'm a big fan. Like, the eyes right there. I've started doing. I noticed it in like Go Nagai, who's like a famous Japanese artist who did like Devilman and things like that. And he draws these really big, expressive eyes, but not like the manga stuff, more like the way Starlin's doing it here, just even bigger. But I started doing that just to draw attention to the eye. Like I'm trying to get the hang of like doing some really unique eyes. That's really nailing it. That's a real powerful gaze he's got there.
Yeah. If you notice mentally phasing more than oneself to any locale requires. Oh, so Thanos teleports them all to safety, you know, and he's lecturing them. You know, I just saved you, you know. Pip is like, what? You know, he goes, that is why I was forced to keep those Black Knights occupied while you escaped, then catch up with you later by lone phasing.
Yeah, because he couldn't do it, didn't have the power to do it all.
You know what? And Thanos, why'd you save Pip? Yeah. Oh, Matt Bauer says the Swordsman was on the Hawkeye show. Cool. Now, because Hawkeye's brother was he was another guy called the Sword Master, and you know, so Hawkeye was the bow guy, and his brother Barney was the Sword Master who ended up robbing the carnival and then whatever. So,
no, is that a good show, Hawkeye?
I didn't watch any. I didn't watch any Marvel stuff after Endgame. The only thing I watched was the Spider-Man movie, and I was real curious to watch Loki but
that I enjoyed that. It reminded me of like goofy. Of course, I don't know much about Loki other than what's in the movies, so I enjoyed his character more in that than I did in the movies largely. So it reminded me of kind of like a weird Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminded. My problem with the Loki show, well, I got two problems with the Loki show. First off, he's the guest, he's the secondary character in his own show. It's the Sylvia show. And second, the second is Loki killed more New Yorkers than Bin Laden, and I'm supposed to be cheering for this guy? Like, I know he's an alternate version from another. I don't give a crap. Loki killed tens of thousands of New Yorkers in the first Avengers movie. I want to see him get destroyed. You know what I mean? He's a bad guy. You don't get to kill. Nobody's going to watch a show with Bin Laden getting redeemed.
There's a whole thing going on with Disney, and it's been going on a while, where they're taking
all the villains, bad guys, like
they're making you connect with villains, like they did with Maleficent, where she's no longer just a villain. Now she has circumstances that led her to be a villain. You know, so
and I'm sure they did the same with Cruella.
Yeah, I'm sure. So like that's just kind of part of it, where it's like, yeah, he's not just a bad guy. He's got, reasons.
Loki show is awesome. I'll check. I will check out all the Marvel stuff eventually.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I actually got the what do you call it? The metal box of it. Really good.
Kingpin was done dirty in Hawk. Yeah. Didn't he like cry and beg?
I don't like that guy is Kingpin. Everybody was. I love that actor. I forget his name, but I didn't like his Kingpin at all. No.
I thought the Daredevil, the first two.
Yeah, that was
I only saw the first two or maybe three seasons of the Daredevil show. It was excellent. That was some of the best thing Marvel did. Was those Daredevil?
Yeah, that was good. And then it felt. Yeah, I watched all the other shows. Not nearly as good, but
look at these. These are the Treasury editions. These are gigantic sized.
Oh yeah, you got any of those?
I
had the Wizard of Oz one because Buscema drew that.
Yeah, I didn't have I had this. This is, believe it or not, is one of the first Fantastic Four comics. Somebody gave that to me, but the problem is when there's 6 brothers and sisters and the comic is huge, they all got destroyed. This I always wanted, but I never had. But I had the Thor. I went into a thrift store when I was a little kid, and it was $8. And I gave the lady $2, and she goes, "Okay, I'll give this to you, but you have to come back with $6." I was like, "Okay."
That's a different.
I never went back to that store. I think I was in junior high school. So here I am, like in 2nd grade. She gives me the book.
You're a criminal.
Yeah, I went back in like junior high school, and I walk in, and she took an index card off the wall and said, "You got that $6?"
Oh,
I was like,
sharp.
Oh. Yeah, I was like, "Yeah, I do. I happen to have it." And I was like, "All right,
good man." Paid it off. Paid off your debts.
I thought I was getting away with something. But I don't have these anymore. I don't know what happened to. But this I want to get because this is all original material. This giant size holiday grab bag. So now we have that Thanos is annoyed by Pip over here, right? He's telling that don't touch it. I have valuable equipment.
Yeah, but he's actually he's still kind of nice in that he like pulls him out of the air because he's just floating around and puts him in some metal boots. You need these. Like he still has like
magnetic boots so he doesn't float around.
Yeah. So he's still not like, I mean, I just imagine him should have just blasted him out of the air, but he still needs these guys to do what he needs done. So.
Right. He needs them to deal with the, because Thanos, I don't think knows exactly Thanos knows that Warlock is going to become the Magus, but Is killing Pip going to cause him to turn into the Magus? Is not, you know what I mean?
Right.
So Thanos doesn't want to mess with anything that he can't control. And I love this. He's playing around with machines.
Yeah,
And
this is the weird thing. It's like, how does he's just pushing buttons and a cigar pops out of the machine?
Right. He hits the right combination to give Pip what he wants, which is a good old stogie, which makes him one of Kelsey's favorite characters of all time.
Yeah.
And I love all these crossword puzzles. You know, it is true, I have no heart, but I have dreams, and I once had a small world I ruled. But my enemies shattered my plans to turn Titan into a technological superworld and overthrow my regime. Yet the vision remains, and someday I shall once again occupy the throne of power on Titan. You know, so
And
he's
this
telling
is
them,
where-
I'm going to rule. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to
Well,
make it.
this is where we learn also that he's using time travel. He's made a time machine.
Yeah,
right?
one such tool will be this time machine I've created. Yet with it, no mystery shall remain a secret to me. And another tool I shall use to gain my ends will be yourself, or rather your soul gem. Unfortunately, my plans cannot be acted upon immediately. As you stands now, your future will soon negate your usefulness to me. That and the fact that the Magus himself may one day become a threat to my schemes forces me to terminate your other self's existence, so that it is you rather than the Magus that I must eventually. So he's telling him,
He's telling him.
so that I can deal with you to steal your soul gem, so I could use it to control.
He's like, make no mistake, I don't like you, and
Yeah.
I am going to destroy you at some point. But right now, we're gonna work together. But this is what I love, though. This is where this shows how great a manipulator Thanos is, because even though he just told him, I need you, but I'm going to eventually destroy you as well, but he still presents an argument that compels Warlock to do what he needs to do, you know,
Right.
and that's what is going to be building over the next couple pages. So
Right, because they already know the danger that the Magus presents.
Yeah.
He's a galaxy-wide threat. He's going to conquer the entire galaxy and oppress everybody. Thanos is you know, the unknown. Maybe it's better. Maybe I could defeat Thanos. You know.
yeah, right. Yeah. Let's see what goes on in this. Okay, we get like a.
Oh,
This is where we get the history of Gamora.
Right, yeah. I found Gamora some years off from a far-off world where her people, the Zen Hubrius, who were surrounded by the Magus' holy forces. The Zen Hubrius are a peace-loving race whose religious activities stem from reasons of faith alone. You know, and then Thanos goes there, causes Magus goes there, causes problems. The Magus' Grand Inquisitors purify those foolish, gentle people with their death-dealing rays who passed the Zen Hubrius into history, except for Gamora, whose newly created hatred for the Magus and his people could now be molded to serve my plans. So, you know.
So there's a big difference in the history of that he saved her. He's not the one that destroyed her people.
The Magus did.
The Magus did. So it's not him that she has conflict with. It's the Magus. So, and again, you know, it's not. There's still no father figure in this yet. You know, she still doesn't view him as any kind of father.
I raised Gamora here on Sanctuary, and over the years endowed her with powers that rival your own physical abilities. For she was not destined to. For was she not destined to kill you? And to refine those gifts, I vowed her to exact vengeance upon those Inquisitors who would take part in her people's genocide years before it even occurred. So let's deal with Garfield's Bizarre Adventures comment. He doesn't like time travel. It undoes the consequences in the storytelling. So here, this is literally addressing your point. May I call you Bizarre or Adventure or Garfield? I'll call you Garfield.
Yeah, I don't know that I picked up on that.
So he sent her back in time to kill the Inquisitors before they killed her people.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So here she is, you know.
So yeah, he's
the paradox, you know. So maybe that is what caused this whole avalanche of maybe just not understanding Thanos is here, you know.
But maybe also why he's
here it is. It just says it right here. I hope
Mhm.
this would create a major enough rift in the Magus' continuous reality to allow Gamora to assassinate your other self before you can call for the. So yeah, he's actively causing paradoxes to mess with the Magus You know, he goes, my belief that a contaminated element from ages of future might be introduced in the present to disrupt his past. But by mischance, the Magus' godlike senses detected and penetrated the veil of unreality that was supposed to shield Gamora from his consciousness. Thus, assassination is proven futile. So we must back upon our last recourse. Listen to this. We must use our last recourse. Suicide. Your suicide. You have to kill yourself, Adam, to save everything. And then we cut to the Magus. You lost them, Thanos, and Kelsey. Did we lose you? I think we lost Kelsey. Should I remove you and see if I can bring you back? Oh, we lost Kelsey. Let's see if he pops back into the chat. Somebody message him. Tell him I don't know if he knows that he's blacked out, but I'll continue talking until he either shows up or comes back into the chat. So Kelsey's gone. Maybe the Magus got him. Maybe the Paradox has claimed yet another victim. So here's the Magus over here freaking out. He can't detect the Magus of what's going on. I mean, the Magus can't detect Thanos. Okay, I just got a message from him. He said he's trying to come back on. Okay, cool. Okay, he just logged out. I think he'll be back. He's probably rebooting his computer. My secret foe has been revealed. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
So let's make this clear. Talking about paradoxes in the comics causes paradoxes in reality, and Kelsey got caught up in a loop.
I did.
That walked him out of existence for. So welcome back, Kelsey from the future. So we were just saying, Magus is freaking out over here because he can't detect anything. Thanos is shielding them from his senses, and he's like, "Now, Thanos, this is my secret foe. It's been revealed to me. This is the fly in the ointment."
Yeah, this is why. I mean, this is such good writing because this is why in the earlier issues he thought Gamora could get a stab in on him and wasn't paying attention because she's not part of this timeline technically.
And I just look, guys. No good guy has hair like that. You just came out. No good guy is. Look at that face. This is the 70s, guys. You want to for you youngins who want to know what the 70s like, peer into these eyes. That is the 70s right there.
But look at the panel right below it where he's the shot of just
this one
lighting
right
on his face is so crazy.
Oh, somebody wants to see the Hostess ad. Yeah, I get a kick out of these. The Hulk versus the Twins of Evil. So the Abomination and Wendigo teaming up against the Hulk over here. Does anybody know who drew this?
It looks like maybe Sal.
It
you think it's Sal Buscema?
Yeah, and so he gets beat up. Wendigo and the Abomination both punch Hulk at the same time. Knock him out so bad that his face is left a smoking crater, and these little kids who are lost in the woods.
Nothing a Hostess can't fix.
Yeah, they give him a Hostess fruit pie, and Hulk happy now. So he should turn into Banner. That's a flaw. If Hulk is happy, he should turn into Banner, and now he's going to go and destroy trees because he's happy. That's what a happy Hulk does.
That's a really good Hulk too. Very classic kind of thick Hulk.
I love these Hostess ads.
Yeah.
Hint: read my comic.
Do you have a Hostess ad in your comic?
I may or may not. I can't reveal because that will cause a time paradox, and then we'll lose Kelsey forever. I'm really curious. As a comic book artist, you must read comics on a completely different level than me. Because I'm a writer guy. As much as I love the art, like good art will draw me to a comic. Let's be realistic. But good writing will get me to stay. Like a lot of those.
Right, that's the old saying.
Great art, but I just couldn't stomach the writing. It was terrible. So
I mean, I have books that I look at for the art, and I'll try to read it, but a lot of times the stuff with the really good art, it's not the best written either.
Yeah,
that's just. Yeah.
Disco Stu, yes, he is. Spoiler alert for the Simpsons. Yep. Disco Stu is the bad guy. They had real talent. Yes, absolutely. Chill out, Bruce, and have a snack. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to answer your question, though, like there's other books where I've tried to get into it. Like, for instance, this one, my art tastes were always somewhere different. I see a guy with an afro, I see clowns, I'm going another direction. Like, it looks extremely 70s, not really into that aesthetic. But, when I was reading through this, like it all goes away, and you're just so kind of into what these characters are doing, and all that kind of washes away. And then you start picking up on all the good things that he's doing, the things that I do like about all this,
Again, look at this. See,
I still don't like the hair, but
like this panel,
yeah,
I kind of glazed over it every time I read it. But now that you, as an artist, said, "Look at this panel," now I'm staring at it, going,
"It's so powerful." I mean, just this little slender panel, 2 of them. Yeah, it just shows so much intensity in what he's saying.
And I am of the opinion, and again, you're the artist. I always think that, like, comic books, everybody says they're cinematic. I always think as comic books is more theatrical than cinema. Like, this is almost like a stage play. Like, this is stage lighting.
Well,
this is a movie.
I mean, they got this in movies too nowadays, and there's real high end, lighting and things going on in movies and stuff nowadays. But it's the melodrama.
Yes.
That they're capitalizing. They're using that lighting to emphasize the drama. And I love good melodrama when it's done well, because it's very operatic. They're not going to just give you, here's your bad guy. No, they're going to hit him with like intense lighting as he's talking about what he's talking about. So it's heightened drama.
I could definitely see like the Flash Gordon serials influence this from like the 30s and 40s.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, look, the pose.
McFarlane influence, definitely.
Yeah, and I could see McFarlane. Yeah, I never thought of that, but McFarlane seems to know his comic history. I would be shocked if he never read this. These pages don't fit my expectation of composition, bro. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. He's very creative, and the thing that took me a minute to like get used to is the fact that he's not, at this point, we're all very rigid in our how people talk on a page. If someone, you have to have the balloons in the panel or it goes off panel. No, he's like, even from the beginning, where you kind of have to figure out like all of this stuff. This guy is talking, and you have to go across and then down, and each section corresponds to this. Pattern. Yeah. So, and he does this a lot, which at first was a little off-putting, but then you realize just how creative he's actually being and trying. He's just trying things, and some of it works, some of it doesn't, but it's different than almost anything I've ever seen. I've seen bits and pieces of kind of his techniques, but I don't know. I get the feeling that this is a young guy who's getting a real chance to do something great, and he's putting everything he's got into it.
He's like, this is gonna be my magnum opus, because in some way, shape, or form, this is the story that he's been telling since he started working at Marvel.
Yeah, you were saying that he actually continues this story no matter what he's drawing. He's writing.
Well, I mean, Warlock is canceled, and the story's continuing in of all places. Marvel, Avengers. Oh yeah, here we go. Avengers and Marvel 2-in-1. You know what I mean? So he's continuing the story no matter what. It's like, hey, why don't you write the Aunt May special? Okay, Thanos is in it.
Thanos is going to make an appearance.
What do you got? Hey, Phantasmagoria, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. How's everything? These pages look designed, and McFarlane does a bunch of that stuff to cover up his flaws and weaknesses in that. I mean, yeah, he does.
McFarlane,
too at the beginning.
But I subscribe to McFarlane's. McFarlane is he has a big ego, but he has it in check. He's like, look, at one time he said, I may not be able to draw the most realistic trash can, but I could draw the coolest looking trash can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he knows his limitations as an artist, and he overcomes that through creative page layout, expressive, dynamic characters. He's trying to take advantage of the things he is good at. So yeah, he's no, and Jim Starlin is no McFarlane. So they have their strengths.
This comment just makes me giggle. Aunt May is the one person Thanos can kill. Aunt May, for the frailest human being on the planet, has been through a lot of shit. She's been thrown off buildings. She's been buried alive.
She's the unstoppable.
How many times does Dr. Octopus interrupt her surgeries and she never gets her medicine on time? That woman,
He had to marry her in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, they kind of.
I didn't read any of that. I heard that somewhere.
Dr. Octopus marries her.
He's like, well, if you can't kill him, join him.
Yep. So here we got Magus is just getting pissed off, and he's kind of this funky dialogue about comic books. It's bringing people up to speed. He's talking about he already escaped the in-betweener. The in-betweener was this weird, like, inserted concept. The in-betweener is a character who exists between fact and fiction. Any two dualities there are, the in-betweener is that margin between them. So he's inside and outside. He's up and he's down. He's factored. And the in-betweener was going to touch Adam Warlock, send him into a 1,000-year sleep, and he was going to emerge as the Magus. But Thanos' intervention caused the in-betweener not to touch him. So now Magus is a little bit of panicky right now. We got to get the in-betweener back to do the old touchy-feely on Adam Warlock and turn him into me.
Yeah, so there's this there's like several ticking clocks that Starlin sets up continuously that you feel the stakes coming, so there's a limited amount of time when the in-betweeners coming. Thanos has got a limited amount of time to do all the things he needs to get done, and he's got to make sure people are motivated in the right way. There's just all these I don't know. He's really ramping up the tension.
Yeah, and it gets your heart racing when you're reading it. You're like, oh. And I love this. So he opens up like a rift in the dimensions, and he goes into this obvious Steve Ditko
space. Yeah.
I always call it the Ditko-verse.
Yeah, Ditko-verse. Yeah, because in Nexus, doing Nexus Scourge and triplets and all that, Mike Baron writes in his script, when they go through like the wormhole to travel large distances in space, he says he goes into the wormhole and comes out in Ditko space. So it's just like a shorthand for comic book people. I knew immediately what he meant.
If you don't know what that means, then you shouldn't be drawing comics. Like if somebody says and put some Kirby Crackle over here, if you go, oh, excuse me, sir, Kirby Crackle means you're fired. That's what it means. If Matt Bauer is still in the chat, when I always say, like, I want to hire you, okay, show me your comic collection. And if you don't you can't show me your comic collection, then you don't come to my office without a picture of your comic collection. No,
he's got all the good stuff, at least as far as my generation goes. He always had the different books that I was always into. And I have not seen a Warlock, though. Wonder if he's got that.
I love these little, what do they call them? Slice panels. It's just
tall panels. We were talking about this on Creative Block the other day about using the tall, skinny panels, and man, he uses it so well in this.
The only other him and George Perez really love that. And it forces you to. It's I'm an electrician, so I'm thinking of a capacitor. The electrical current will go into a capacitor, and it traps the electricity till it reaches a certain, and then it releases it. So it regulates the flow of these are like capacitors. I'm reading, and now I have to pace myself. You know what I mean? Like Jim Starlin is controlling the rate at which you absorb the comic by using these slice panel.
That's what they're supposed to do. I mean, you're supposed to slow down when you use panels and all that to control the pacing and how fast people read, how many dialogue balloons, and then when the action gets ramped up, your bigger expressive panels, less dialogue, and it's just you're flying through it.
And you get a glimpse like what's going on. This I don't know. This just reminds me of like if the Star Wars movie, if the original Star Wars movie was a comic book, it would be like slice panels of that Star Destroyer coming down after the whatever it's called, the rebel ship, the Corvette or whatever, you know.
What a conclusion to this episode, this issue, you know. So start your time vehicle, Thanos, for Adam Warlock is now prepared to destroy his own soul.
Right. Thanos, listen to how evil Thanos is.
Yeah.
He just talked Adam Warlock into the necessity of committing suicide.
Yeah. That's why he wasn't worried about revealing his whole plan. You know,
right.
It's not like in bad movies where you get, they even made fun of it in The Incredibles, where you get the monologuing, where he just tells him everything.
You got the monologuing, you sly devil.
But
that's
see,
a great line.
In this case, Thanos is several steps ahead. So even though he's monologuing and telling him everything, he's like, you're still going to do what I want you to do.
Because you're the good guy and I'm exploiting your hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm exploiting your humanity. And then listen to How Strange My Destiny, plus the bizarre death of Adam Warlock.
Yeah. I mean, so great. So great.
Look at these costumes, guys. This is also the 70s. My mom, I wanted to be the Hulk one year. I think it was kindergarten. I wanted to be the Hulk. So my mom, in my mind, I was going to be muscular. I was going to not wear a shirt in November in New York, which is not a good idea, or October rather, and purple ripped up pants. My mom got me this latex piece of crap costume with a mask that hurts my tongue. The rubber band breaks off immediately. And the Hulk costume has a picture of Hulk's face on your chest with the word Hulk.
Just so in case anybody didn't know.
This costume on, and I'm pretty sure I was crying. That was the least Hulk ever. Crying, wearing a mask that hurt your tongue because you put them on, you start sticking your tongue through.
I always wanted to be Iron Man. That's the costume I wanted. But I always had a big head. I could never get, as soon as I try to snap, snap that rubber band so easy. It wasn't even a real rubber band. Those were awful. Those costumes, yeah, they were terrible.
Yeah, I hated it. They were made out of bullshit plastic. So wow, that's all one issue.
Yeah, and that was 2 chapters, and then this is part 2, chapter 4. So he's breaking. There's so much story that he has to break it up into different chapters.
And here we got issue 11. Let me take it out of the bag. Are you guys hearing an echo?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm not. I don't know if the audience is.
Because my thing just died on me and I'm hearing a little bit of echo. So guys, let me know if you're hearing an echo. So look at this. We got issue 11 over here. Here it is, The Strange Death of Adam Warlock.
What a great cover too, because it's foreshadowing, what's coming, and that he's literally fighting himself here.
I'll pick up the pace a little bit on this one.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, my comic book Heroic Tales is going to go live at 9:10, so we can have a little bit of a fanfare.
Oh, thanks for posting the link. Awesome. Oh wait, Devil Flyer. Is this your book?
This Devil Flyer. We like him too. We like Devil Flyer too. If this is Nexus Scourge, this is also live.
Oh, thank you.
And
lots of good stuff out there, especially on Fund My Comic. What a great place.
Oh, can I give a little Fund My Comic commercial? So today, I told the guys at work that my comic book was going live. I made these cards. I made these cards because guys at work, I'm going to be like, you go to this website, you hit www.fund. So I got a card with a QR code. You scan this code and it takes you to, so I can hand it out to the guys. And I said, but keep in mind, it doesn't turn active until 9 o'clock. So one of the guys scanned it and I got a 404 code.
Oh,
the page was down.
Hopefully they'll scan it again.
Oh my God. The day of the launch, the page goes down. So what do? I call Luke Stone, the guy who runs Fund My Comic. It's his website. I get him in the middle of lunch. He fixes it in 4 minutes. Guys, you can't do that on Kickstarter. You cannot do that on
right.
I got the guy to fix the problem. And he was just like, don't worry about it, John. I got it.
I try not to bother him, but I had lots of questions, and I'm always like, and he's always right there with plenty of answers.
Nice guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To me, after that, I'm just like, why would I go to any other site? So,
yeah, I mean, just Yeah, I mean,
Oh, thank you, Healthier. Thank you. So this is, you could go this. I'm going to be on Michael Bancroft's channel at 9. So somewhere around 10 to 9, I'll be bailing. So wherever we get to this, it looks like this will be a 4-episode series. So now we got Escape to the Inner Prison, and now we got actual credits over here. Oh, I'm not showing it because this is blocking. Yeah, Luke is very cool. I agree.
Prater is saying Mike Barron showed an image I drew of a staircase in space. Look great, look cool. Yeah, that was from Nexus Scourge. I got a staircase in space. I'm doing my own Starlin kind of stuff.
Yep. So we got the story and the layout. So notice every issue, Jim Starlin is doing less and less. I think he's just like bit off more than he could chew, and to keep up that monthly grind, you know. So finished art is Steve Liliola, and
well, he's really good in his own right.
Yeah,
and I can't really tell that much difference, honestly. Just a little bit.
A little bit. I could see a little bit.
Yeah, he's a little looser in his inks than Starlin is, I think.
And then we got I love this eyeball alien just blasting, Thanos.
What's funny is like I used to pore over the Marvel Universe handbooks, those and I'd see all of these characters, and they all had names and backgrounds and all this stuff. And so reading this, I'm seeing like even the very first issue, and he's fighting that rock guy. I'm like, I've seen that rock guy.
I know that guy. Yeah, at the end of the Marvel universes, they just had like alien races, and I'd say half of them are from this, and the other half are from that Bob Layton Hercules series.
Oh yeah, I love how they recap this. So as it goes on, they start having more fun with the recaps, and this one is like, question, what the blazes is going on? Yeah, so they and then they give you a little bit from Strange Tales 178. We saw a hero Adam Warlock meet and battle the future self, the Magnus. Yeah, and then we again definitely going over Thanos but they're doing the recap as we're watching them fight the current fight, which is great.
This is going on right now, but the dialogue is telling us, they're fighting. While they're fighting, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you up to the story.
Which is awesome because at one point I was kind of skipping the recap because I was reading it all in one go. I didn't need the recap as much. I kind of skimmed through it, see if there was anything new. But then at this point, I noticed that they were starting to do different stuff, and I started to pay attention to the recap because they were overlapping that with pertinent stuff for this issue.
Mike Barron always says that nobody really talks during a fight. So, so Adam Warlock throws a punch. Thanos, he's talking about the in-betweener, and being that it's destined to carry me off to his dark dimension while I'll be changed into the Magus by the dark forces of chaos and all. I don't know about you, but I've been in a bar fight, and I remember once hitting a guy over the head with a stool, and I yelled, "Zounds, face!" For that, how get the wrath of John's long box.
But that's kind of the magic of comics that we're losing, because I think people, we as the human race, are becoming more cynical. It's just like when I was a kid watching action movies, guns had infinite ammo. And now we're obsessive about counting every shot a gun makes to make sure that they are counting for every bullet before they reload. And we're just cynical about all this. We're cynical about, man, nobody can talk while they're punching, but this is a literary work, where
nobody can fly in space either.
So we're seeing this one image, but that's just a snapshot of a whole moment in the fight. So that dialogue that he's telling in my imagination is going across not just this one hit.
Right. Have you ever read Scott McCloud's Understanding Comic?
Yeah.
He talks about that time is wonky within the panel itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's why I'm very forgiving for dialogue in a fight. Otherwise, fight scenes will be boring.
And not only that, but you're going to have to need more pages to get across your idea, whereas they get so much across in every panel. You know, so much more story going on in these.
And I love.
So where were we? We're still recapping.
Yeah, so he's like, I'll turn it. He's like, yeah, and we went back in time to this. He goes, now we're fighting, and I love Thanos. Goes, exactly. In order to keep the Thanos, you have to use your soul gem. So Thanos, look at his face over here. He's like excited. Use your soul gem, Adam. He's like, no, not that, not that.
Yeah.
No, use it.
Use it. You must.
That Thanos is the devil on his shoulder. You know, Thanos like, I'll keep everybody occupied over here. I'll do these blasts and stuff like that. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to use your soul gem. I'm Thanos, and even I can't defeat all of these guys. Look at Thanos. Use it. You know, Magus is over here struggling, and then Pip is just running around.
Yeah, he's funny because he doesn't actually do anything, but then he claims all victory. Yeah, when I was holding them off on my side, you weren't doing anything but hiding behind Thanos.
I love this. For the sake of the great corporalite. Isn't a corporalite just like a fancy word for poop? So
I don't know. Is it?
I think so. I think it's a fancy way of saying poop. You know, like a fossilized piece of poop. So he's by the great big. They're throwing daggers at him. And that's I love mine said them it's gold, my golden saint, but it has occurred to you that who will die? He goes, millions of people will die. The church will take over everything and oppress everybody. Use your soul gem, and boom.
No!
You know, because remember, this is the proto Infinity Stone. So use the Infinity Stone.
But I love that the Infinity Stone or the soul gem here is talking to him the whole time. Listen to him. Yes, listen. Yes, release me.
Yes, listen, release me. Release me. The power of the soul gem. And then we cut to.
Boom.
See, this is one of the things I hate about Slab in comics. You never get to see Jack Kirby drawing big Jim smashing action figures. Yeah.
Well, this is like a commercial break. I actually kind of liked ads in the book because, like, you see him do all this, and you're just like, "Oh my god, what's happening?" Oh, okay, hold on. You know, let me make sure to get my bucket of army men.
I could become taller.
They send
I love this
platform shoes.
Free $1 million cash. There really was $1 million, but nobody responded to the ad. It just sat there in a warehouse, unclaimed. Can you imagine?
Are you serious?
No. But
Wouldn't
that be a funny story?
It would be, actually.
Get free $1 million cash. No joke. Sign up now. Give me the first one. And it was like, that's how they get you. That's how they get you. Then next thing you know,
Dr. Ben says, fake news.
fake news. I love Adam Warlock. It's what made me a comic book fan. Cool.
Yeah, nice.
Shadowpunk's brain is an Infinity Stone. I don't know which one I'd want. I couldn't stand Dragon Ball anime because they would never shut up while fighting for a whole episode, talking trash, how they would beat each other up. I never got into Dragon Ball Z because I was like an adult when that came out. So, you know, it just I just missed it.
Well, their whole thing in that is just talking trash, but this is, you know, they're imparting major story concepts and ideas that, you know, and setting up motivations and, you know, all this dynamic interplay between the characters. So it's way more compelling.
And look at this. Because the hell you say, I didn't mean to. So Adam Warlock just killed everybody. You know, make no mistake. He used the power of the soul gem and basically like a vampire sucked all their souls into him. And keep in mind that power and experience is transferred. So he's leveling up. And the Magus is like, look, you just proven how worthy you are from me.
Yeah.
You're on the path to becoming me. He's like,
so no. he's like caught in between these two.
Instead of having an angel and a devil, he has two devils.
Yeah. And he's trapped. I mean, he's in a no-win scenario at this point.
If you don't do anything, then the Magus will become victorious. But if you do things,
Thanos might be victorious. Yeah.
Look at this face now. You know, me and my afro will destroy you. And I love this. He's like silver, and Adam Warlock is gold.
Yeah.
So he's about to attack him, and Thanos saves the day. Boom!
Yeah, I reject your truth.
Quickly, Warlock, into the time probe. It is present to take you where it must. You'll know that. So he gets into the time probe. Magus, Pip the Troll jumps up. No, I noticed his Gamora over here, but she's not anywhere else. Going through the Ditko verse. You know.
Oh yeah.
I must commit cosmic suicide.
Yeah, there's a lot of suicide talk in this book. That's another thing that's interesting.
Yeah, just prostitutes and suicide. Just what's going on, Jim? You want to talk? Do you want to talk? When will do anything to instead of going to therapy? Like write a cosmic space opera instead of going to therapy.
This book made men out of children. Come on. They grew up reading this book where I was like, I learned about death from a comic book.
Now we just have like Adam Warlock is out of the way, Pip's out of the way, Gamora, they kind of just forgot about her. So now we just have the Magus and Thanos, like
literally going head to head, smashing
infinite light. Boom.
Yeah, you can imagine them knocking together so hard that it's like the power of cosmic, just exploding out of their.
And nobody throws a punch like this. Look at that. What is that? A haymaker? Look at that position he's in. How do you even get into that position to throw a punch?
That's his hair maker, not his haymaker.
And then here he is in the Ditko verse, and he sees the in-betweener.
Yeah, this is it. Now, and again, that ticking clock where he's like, forget all your, forget all that. You're mine now.
If you ask me, you could see the difference in the art here on this page.
Yeah, I mean, there's even differences in the art per character, which is odd. The rendering of the in-betweener is vastly different than on Warlock.
Yeah, I wonder if Jim paid more attention to certain characters. Or, I talked to Brian Bow, who does Wolf and Batseed. He says he'll do like 4 pages at a time because the ink is drying over here.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if oh crap, I spent too much time over here. Steve, you finished that over here or whatever.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you could tell he was like, this is the first really good shot of the in-betweener in this series, so he wanted to milk that, because there's a lot more rendering on him and stuff. But where are we at here?
Like this Ditko universe with spiny thorns and doorway. Oh, my hand's blocking it. Doorways into like nowhere. It's so cool.
Yeah, I like the in-betweener, how he talks, because Warlock tries to blast him with his soul gem, but he's like, I don't have a soul. Like,
right.
It's useless on me. What does he say? I'm truly the in-betweener. He who walks betwixt all concepts, such as life and death, reality and illusion, good and evil, logic and emotion, God and man. All these things do I know and can affect, yet never do they touch me.
Right.
Yeah, truly the in-betweener.
Yeah. And so somewhere in its infinite dimensions, there's an 8-year-old John just sitting there like, oh man, this my father's friends just don't understand how good comic books are.
Yeah.
Only me and Jim Morrison get it.
So he throws a big rock at him. It's like, he's like, yeah, well, eat this. No.
All right. So do you understand this concept? Here's a stalagmite in your face. Not at all. For as I said, it just passes through him.
It's almost like Darth Vader talking to Luke. I sense, or the Emperor talking to Luke, where he's like, I sense your hatred for what I'm about to do. And since you are, in effect, a sole cause for my being, I wish to assure you that all is not as dark as you might suppose. Oh, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, he seems like it's not a good or evil thing. It's just, this is how it is, pal. Know.
This, you might as well get mad at gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the Magus, as strange as it seems, is a champion of life. So dwell on what I have chosen to reveal to you, and hopefully I should give you some peace. You have 5 minutes, and then you are destined to evolve. He's like, 5 minutes?
Yeah, did you say 5 minutes? Again, that ticking clock. I have not seen so much of the ticking clock aspect of a story in as much as they do it in this book, and as successfully as they do in this book, because when he says, because I know that when they summoned the in-betweener, he had half an hour or something like that. I forget how long it was. And then a lot of stuff happened. And now that the in-betweeners finally showed up, he's got 5 minutes left. And you can feel that time. You're like, holy crap, that's not a lot of time. And, and then we cut back to, the Magus and Thanos.
Yeah, and Thanos. And look, Thanos is using so much power, he's like out of focus.
Yeah.
And Magus is using force fields to protect himself. We got like almost like yin and yang over here, fire and you are my superior? Never. I am Thanos. I am death. And he's just blowing the crap out of this TIE fighter that existed years before Star Wars.
That's true, but it's also massive too. They've drawn it really small. Later in the book, in some of the later issues, specifically the last one that we're going to get to at some point, they talk about its scale. It's massive, massive.
Yeah, that ship flies around and blows up stars in later issues. And here's Gamora. This always reminds me of like Neil Adams around here.
That's such a great shot too. This top one, how angled it is. It's very dynamic. But you just feel that like the ship that they're in is just being ripped apart around her, and she's trying to get out.
Gravity is tossing them around.
Yeah.
Because there's debris just flying around in front of her face.
Yeah.
I think I'll just get my pretty green hide out of here for safekeeping and hope there's something better. So she's just giving up. I'm going to go hide. And then we got this Salvador Dali, this clock's melting. I love this. The in-betweener just summons a clock to let them know. This is how much time you got left, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm neither sadistic or nice. Again, we got these paths. Which path do I choose? Which... This path is dark. If he treads here, he becomes the Magus. If these paths are unknown, So now what's he doing? He's using the soul gem to destroy the dark path that he's guessing must lead to him becoming the Magus.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, he's like literally destroying the timeline almost. His lifeline. I mean,
right. These are all the possibilities, and one of them is just the evil. So he's cleaning it up. So here's Magus beating Thanos. Once purified, Magus is over here. It must be destroyed. And here he is over here. Magus is just gloating over Thanos. Because at last, you see, life is truly stronger than death. Because I never bought that, but the in-betweener says that Magus represents life. And I guess the harshness and cruelness of life. And Thanos is the easy way out, death.
Interesting.
I've proven that life is stronger. Is that so? I suggest you look again, Magus.
and like in Back to the Future, he's fading away again. Right. Before Back to the Future came out,
right? I said this before. You show me a cool concept in a movie, and I'll show you the comic that did it 20 years before.
And most of it's in this one. As I was reading this, I was like, "Oh crap! That's in a movie. I've seen that in a story. That's in another comic book. That's a whole sci-fi concept that I remember from the 80s. This happened in the 70s. So there's tons of Star Wars kind of stuff. There's it's filled with so many concepts that." May have existed in sci-fi novels, maybe that Jim Starlin was reading, but not in comics.
Yeah, this is so good. So he's fading away because Adam Warlock destroyed the path that leads to the Magus. And the in-betweener is just like, my work is done. This is
a 17-panel page. I mean,
oh, wow, I never counted.
And it doesn't feel too congested. It feels very because they're building, the more panels, you're building up tension to like a big explosive, kind of thing. But you're getting closer to Thanos. You're seeing I'm holding it up like you can see. You're seeing the skull in his mouth, just as we were talking about on Creative Block last night. There's diegetic and non-diegetic, which is one is in there and one is just representational. So that's not a skull literally in Thanos's mouth. It just represents death, right. That he's he's winning and laughing about it. But so this scene I wasn't confused by necessarily, but it comes up later,
right?
And
I think it's brilliant. I love
it's really fascinating. And I can't, we'll get to it. And I'm going to pick your brain about it because
we're probably going to have to end at this comic so I could go off. But remember this when we come back to, we'll get to next. But here's Adam Warlock materializing from this time porthole. And he goes into
to meet his past self.
Somewhere a year, maybe 2 years in the future. Adam Warlock is laying here beaten up and bloody.
Oh, he's in the future. Okay,
he goes into the future. So our Adam Warlock, let's call him our Adam Warlock.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
And he sees his future version just laying here all beat up. And he's comforting him. In my dying moments, I'm dying and you have come to steal my soul so it will never become the foe I have defeated. So the Magus is already defeated. The path that leads to the Magus is destroyed. Then he goes and he finds a defeated, crushed Adam Warlock underneath some unknown debris. He goes, months. I didn't realize this happens in such a short time. Fool, it's been an eternity. So this is the older, defeated Warlock. During that time, everything I've ever cared for, everything I've ever accomplished has fallen into ruin. Everyone I've ever loved has died. My life has been a failure. I welcome its end. And so our Adam Warlock goes to the future Adam Warlock, and we don't see. He uses the soul gem, and he dies.
But this is like, it's brilliant because it makes me wonder, did he have all of this in his mind? Did he have all this planned?
Without a doubt, he had this planned.
Because you can't do this on a whim unless you write this and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to come back to this at some point or what,
right.
But
how does he do this? Because we still got issue 12.
Yeah.
We got issue 13. We got issue 14. We got issue 15. Oh, I'm not even showing them. We got 15.
Well, not only that, but they make allusions to even this event earlier, I think, right? Like,
and then we got the two greatest comic books ever produced. Guys, It gets even better. It still gets better. So now it's the end. So our Adam Warlock goes into 2 years in the future and kills himself. And himself in the future Warlock is like, it's about time. I can't deal with this anymore. My life is ruined. But also keep in mind, 2 years in comic books time could be 20 years real time. So now Thanos is looking at the wreckage of his ship. We have Gamora over here floating in space.
Yeah, so they explain that they're kind of out of time because he's like, they're gone, but I still remember him. So they're like on like another timeline, basically, where
they remember the Magus comes from I'm using my hands like you can see 5,000 years in the future and then comes back. So now they kill him before that, and here's proof positive. They go to the planet, and there's the matriarch. She's a streetwalking prostitute now. So she.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Impossible.
And here's a small chapel of the Universal Church of Truth. We saved it. Did we? Next. Dun dun dun. You know what I mean? So they created a paradox. They went through a loop, and then this is the way I deal with time travel, guys. Here's a little secret for upcoming comics in Heroic Tales. If there's a timeline and you go back in time and kill your father, you've created a loop that takes itself out of existence, and then it just goes on like as if it never happened. So paradoxes become this fragile little time bubble, that.
Well, wouldn't it like if you loop back, wouldn't it when it goes forward, it basically, loops back and then it branches off into another direction. So it's like anything you come up with after said event, or are you always destined on that path and then eventually loop back and to continue?
For philosophers to decide.
Yeah, true. But I love this little beat where, hey, who was that? Someone you know? No one, just a memory. Let's go have that drink, Pip. I could use it. It's like probably the first time you've seen him just taking a moment. Like, that was crazy. Let's go have a drink. It's a very human moment for him.
Warlock was really, to save. We talked about that in the first part of this. Yeah, we kind of glossed over the past, but yes. And Prater, to answer your question, are all of these contained in the trade that Kelsey has? Yes.
Yeah, including the grand finales, which weren't in the series; they were annuals. One for not even a Warlock comic. One was an Avengers annual, right? And the other was a there you go.
Avengers Annual 7, and then Marvel 2-in-1s.
Yeah.
Again, this comic, when I saw this on the spinner rack, I said, Mom, you have to get this for me. And she was like, okay. It was the first time my mom must have seen the seriousness. Like, oh, John has to have that comic.
Yeah.
Usually to ask my mom for a quarter was one thing. Like you could see the cover price was a quarter. But that particular day, I had the gall to ask my mom for 60 cents.
60 cents. But what you don't get in this trade is, and John had some of the issues when we were starting it last week. The what they recap in the very beginning, he made several appearances in Thor and various stuff. So they're recapping all that stuff here, but there are other minor Adam Warlock stories that predate this, but only a handful. It started in
Strange. I think that graphic novel that you have, it starts with Strange Tales 178, 179, and then it goes to Warlock, I think 8 or 9.
Yeah, Strange Tales 178. Yeah.
Isn't he too young to drink? Well, Pip's race is old, and they live for pleasure.
Look at these eyes. This is what I'm talking about these Starlin eyes. Those are so great.
Yes.
I love them. I want to totally rip that off. That's how I'm going to be doing eyes from now on. There's a nice close-up shot of my beard.
These covers are great, but I wouldn't have had an eye. Oh, I don't know, man. Yeah, Adam Warlock was Space Jesus for Earth 2. Yes, and what was the name? The Man Wolf was like Lucifer and the High Evolutionary was God. I will say that in the High Evolutionary's portrayal in the Guardians of the Galaxy was excellent. I was like, they really portrayed his arrogance and disregard for life. They did a really good job with the High Evolutionary.
Well, when we come back, this is where we get our first little divergence from the main story, where we get kind of like a day in the life of Pip.
Right.
And it's
that's right.
It's a fun little story, and there's definitely some questions I got for you about if any of this stuff continues.
Pip is hanging out with this. Captain Kirk was the only one who went after other colored women in space. Pip was hanging out with blue chicks.
Yeah, right. Fat girls. This big mama. What's her name? Like Mama.
I don't even remember. It's a troller's tale of triumph. But this issue, I was fascinated by this issue. Guys, I can't wait to talk about this.
Which one is that? Is that
Star Thief?
Oh yes, that's the next little standalone.
It scared me as a kid, man. I don't know what it was, but it really did scare me. I think I even had nightmares about this.
It's really creative, and these two little standalone stories. It's almost like he had to take a break to kind of think about where he was going to go with it. So he did these two little side tales that.
Right. I don't think these would have had the majesty if he went right into them.
Well, no, that's what they. Well, because like I'm like I was saying, like a runaway freight train toward the end, and then suddenly it just stops. But like I think if it was in a monthly, that you're just kind of extending the experience a little bit. But it's great because you get like a nice little day in the life of Pip. It's funny. It's a great little fun issue, and there's some fun concepts in that one. And then the Star Thief is like, it's like a crazy X-Files episode or something, or Tales to Astonish.
It is. And like I said, it's kind of creepy. But guys, I'm going to stop now because I want to see Mike. For all I know, Michael Bancroft is already live without me or whatever. You know what I mean? But guys, thank you, Kelsey. Thank you. And,
it's been a blast, man. And thanks for everybody for showing up. This is kind of fun stuff.
Let's do a long box raid on Michael Bancroft. I don't know if he's live yet, but my comic will be launching. And I just got a stomach ache thinking about it.
No, relax.
I can't help it. But guys, thank you. Everybody has been so helpful and encouraging. People are talking about the negativity in comics. I don't see it, guys. It's easy to avoid. And if you stay positive, comic books really are a fun, positive, enjoyable hobby. You know,
and a learning experience. I learned so much in this book. There's just so many like great concepts and ways of telling a story and how to like build on things. Anyway, I don't want to keep it too long, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this. So
guys,
we'll do it again.
Give a couple of minutes. Michael Bancroft. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to YouTube, look up Michael Bancroft. I will be there. My comic book will be launching, and maybe I could get my wife to unpack the suitcases that she's already halfway out the door. But thanks a lot, guys. Right. Kelsey, you're great. This is exactly what I wanted to do when I started this channel. Talk to guys about comics. Thank you.
We're doing it.
All right.
Well, excellent. Good luck, brother.
Thank you so much. Bye.